I got started early the next morning by making my way out of Novac and headed west through the town in the direction of the old RepCon test facility. The morning was cool and quiet as I started up into the foothills. Being out in the wastes before sunup was always strange, like swimming through an ocean of darkness, with nothing but the faint glint of the distant stars as company. You moved slower, more methodically, as anything could be out there. I had my rifle at the ready, and I reached the road to RepCon before the sun had even made its way over the horizon. Ahead in the shadows, I could see the gaunt form that looked vaguely human. It took me only a moment to realize this was a ghoul. I took aim and fired, killing the first of what would be many ghouls. I crept forward, knowing there would be more, and sure enough, another appeared ahead. More came at me, including one that glowed green with radiation. I finished them all off and reloaded before continuing on. Ahead, I came to an overpass that had been fortified as a lookout post. I crept up to the first line of sandbags and took down 2 more ghouls. No wonder Manny was worried about this place. I hadn't even reached the facility, and I had already taken down 6 or 7 of these walking corpses. I made my way beneath the overpass and took out another ghoul with my shotgun. At the base of the ramp, I found the body of a massive humanoid creature, something I had never seen before. It looked like something I had heard stories about, creatures called mutants that had terrorized the wastes before the rise of the NCR. I hadn't encountered any myself, but this sure looked like what had been described. After inspecting the body, I made my way up to the lookout to see if there was anything I could use. I found a few things of use, but more importantly, I found the body of another ghoul. This one was dressed in strange clothes and had some pretty high-tech weaponry on him. There were 2 kinds of ghouls you'd meet in the wastes, feral and sentient. The feral ones had no mind of their own, just wandering husks that tried to kill and eat anything they could. The sentient ones were just like other folk, or at least that's what I had come to find. Some folk were bigoted towards them, not allowing any in their towns or settlements, wouldn't trade with them, or just treated them with a general amount of discontent. I had never been that way, mostly because I grew up around a few of them. I had met enough terrible, smooth-skinned folk to know it didn't matter if you were a ghoul or not, you were capable of the same amount of evil. After I finished searching the lookout post, I started down the road and saw the large facility come into view. I stopped at a small cliff overlooking the place and pulled out my binoculars to get a good look at what I was heading into. I could see more ghouls milling about below in front of the entrance to the old facility. Not too many, but ghouls could easily overwhelm me, and I knew there would be more than I could see. I put away my binoculars and pulled out my rifle, trying to pick off the few I could before making my way down. With the ones I could see cleared out, I started down from the cliffside towards the entrance, where I found more bodies wearing the same outfits as the dead ghouls I found at the lookout post. It was like a uniform, or maybe the dress of some strange cult. Either way, I took what I could from the bodies and made my way over to the RepCon facility entrance. Once inside, I was greeted by the low, gravelly voice of what I presumed was a ghoul.
Hey,
who it was.
Who I am doesn't matter, Smooth Skin. Stop wasting time and get up here.
All right, fine. I'll come find you.
Stop wasting time.
Before following the voice, I decided to ensure I wasn't cornered by any ghouls. So I set about the place, taking down any I could find and trying out my new pistol. The one I had been carrying since before Good Springs had done what I needed, but it was starting to wear, and the last thing I needed was a gun jamming on me while facing down a horde of ghouls. As I made my way through the corridors, eliminating any and all of the monsters, I made sure to search each of the ghouls wearing those strange robes. Each seemed to have a decent energy weapon, not my style, but they would be worth the money. Finally, after making sure there were no other ghouls about, I came to a large room with the tall metal staircase that the ghoul had mentioned over the intercom. I climbed it and readied my weapons, unsure of what I would face when I reached the top. I reached another intercom and activated it before hearing the low, gravelly voice again.
All right, Smooth Skin, I'm letting you in. You better watch yourself. I'll sure as hell be watching you.
I heard the door unlock and I kept my pistol at the ready before entering.
God, but are you ugly. Get upstairs and talk to Jason before I throw up just from looking at you.
On the other side, I saw something that came as a bigger surprise than the bodies of the ghouls and mutants I saw. In front of me was a man, just a man and not a ghoul. I thought this was all some kind of joke.
Your pranks won't work on me, Smooth Skin. They won't work on Jason either.
Your skin looks plenty smooth to me. Is this some kind of joke?
Stop wasting my time, Smooth Skin. Go waste Jason's.
I could tell the man was serious. Most of the time it was the eyes. When someone was lying, they'd shift up or down, but this feller looked me straight in the face. I decided to let it go for now. I wasn't here to help some deluded fool understand reality. I was here to get the ghouls out of this place and get my next clue to my hunt. I made my way down the hallway and saw more of the ghouls dressed in the strange robes, only they were living this time. I was trying to figure out who this Jason was, but it became apparent the moment I saw him.
Jason will lead us to the far beyond.
Hello, Wanderer. Please forgive us our humble surroundings. Our true home awaits us in the far beyond. Have you come to help us complete the great journey?
I got no idea what you're talking about. I'm here because a whole load of feral ghouls have been making their way to Novac recently.
And they've been shooting them down like animals, haven't they? Those ghouls were members of my flock, even after the madness consumed their minds. We never let them wander free. We kept them safe on the first floor. We kept them contained. The demons must have let them out, somehow. And now they are lost forever, denied the salvation and healing glow of the far beyond. Please, Wanderer, bear in mind that every feral ghoul you spare now is one that we can save later. Once the way is clear, our feral brothers and sisters will accompany us on the great journey. If there are any left.
Demons and flocks. I had no clue what this ghoul was onto, so I decided to ask him about himself.
I am Jason Bright, the prophet of the great journey. All the ghouls you see here are members of my flock.
So I was right with my first assumption. This was some sort of ghoul cult, but I didn't have any idea what this great journey was.
We wish to escape the barbarity of the wasteland, especially the violence and bigotry of its human inhabitants. The Creator has promised to my flock a new land, a place of safety and healing, a paradise in the far beyond. Preparations for the great journey were nearly complete when the demons appeared.
Demons, you say? I figured he meant the mutants I had seen strewn about the place, but I asked for more clarification.
The demons appeared from nowhere, except it might be more accurate to say they never actually appeared at all. The demons are invisible. Where one of them stands, the most one sees is the air shimmering like sunlight on water. They set upon us as we were on our way to worship one morning. We had just entered the basement. My flock fought bravely and killed a few, but at such cost. Nearly half of us died or went missing. The rest of us retreated up here. One of the demons raved at us, but they have not tried to attack us since. Still, their demonic presence brought all progress towards the great journey to a standstill. But now you have come. Once again, the Creator has sent a human to help us across a seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
Shimmering light? That meant stealth boys. I was sure of it. Not only was I dealing with massive monsters twice the size of me, but they also knew how to use stealth technology. This wasn't going to be easy. I decided to ask him about what he meant by one of the monsters raving at him.
Yes, over the intercom. Threats of death should we step outside. Guarantees of safety should we stay locked away. It went on for hours, and did not always make sense. But that was the first day only. Since then, silence. Will you drive away the demons, Wanderer?
I knew I didn't have much of a choice. I needed the info that Manny had, and the only way I would get it was to get rid of these ghouls. The mutants would have to be dealt with, so I agreed to help.
Praise the Creator. Bless you, Wanderer. Bless us all. As soon as the underground has been rid of demons, preparations for the great journey can resume.
Before taking on the demons, I decided to ask Jason a few more questions, starting with this great beyond he was talking about.
I have glimpsed it only in visions, Wanderer, but what I have seen is truly miraculous. It is a place of light and healing, and I know in my soul that my flock will be safe there.
And how are you going to make this journey?
The means by which the great journey is to be accomplished are an article of faith, not to be discussed with outsiders.
What about that human? Why does he think he's a ghoul?
You're referring to Chris. I doubt you had much luck if you tried telling him that he's human. We had the same discussions when he first appeared, and the same lack of success. He believes he is one of us. Soon enough we realized that Chris was a gift from the Creator. He is integral to the success of the great journey.
With that, I took my leave.
Let me know when the underground has been rid of the demons.
Invisible mutants, a tight, cramped underground area, and me. As I walked through the corridor, I tried my best to come up with some plan of attack. I usually liked having a space between me and my enemies, using my superior aim to pick them off. Instead, I was going to be up close and personal with creatures who excelled at that range. I had used all of my mines back in the bunker against the rad scorpions, so that wasn't an option. I continued to rack my brain for any ideas and advantages I could muster, but before I knew it, I was already standing in front of the door to the basement area. I braced myself before opening the door, and on the other side I found a darkened staircase comprised of metal walls and floors. My footsteps echoed as I proceeded downward, pulling my shotgun out and loading into it the few magnum rounds I had come across. If those didn't stop these monsters, then nothing would. I crept my way forward, moving past a barrel in which burned a fire, casting dancing and disorienting shadows around the room. Somewhere off in some distant corridor, I heard the sounds of heavy footfalls echoing. They were getting closer. I opened a door to my left, and immediately I saw the shimmering outline of a hulking figure. My instincts kicked in, and I opened fire with my shotgun. 3 shots later, and the monster dropped to the floor with a heavy thud. I ducked inside the room, knowing the gunshots would attract the attention of others, and I made sure the creature was dead. Footfalls echoed all around me, and my heart beat quickly in my chest as I entered another nearby room. This one was large and open, and at one end I could see the faint, shimmering outline of another mutant. I heard another cry out, drawn by the sounds of the fight, and I spun around in a panic, my head swiveling back and forth, searching for any sign of that shimmering outline. Then, I saw it. The creature charged me, sprinting through the blast from my shotgun as I ran out of the magnum rounds. I grimaced in pain as the massive rear club made contact with me, and I dodged out of the way of a second swing. The creature didn't stop, though, and my muscles cringed with each blow as I desperately tried to reload. Finally, I dropped the creature with a final blast, and then all was quiet. My body ached from the fight, but thankfully my armor had absorbed much of the attack. I continued making my way through the dark hallways, one after another, opening doors and searching rooms as I came across them. My hands were steady as I cleared my corners and kept my ears peeled for any sounds and my eyes for any signs of movement. I pressed on until finally I opened a door, and inside was a massive mutant. I kept my gun aimed at him, but as I approached, he spoke.
Antler says you are the one killing my kin. Antler says you must die.
It charged me, and I unloaded every shell I had into it. On my last shot, the creature was thrown backwards, and with a final cry of pain and defiance, it lay still on the ground in a heap.